Hello, everybody. Welcome tonight to another edition of Tradition Forums, the League, Madden League, here with us on Tradition Forums. I'm your host, Bama Grad. Reporting tonight and recovering from tonight's shootout game I had tonight for high school. Shootout game altogether. It was up and down the field. Didn't quit till the clock hit 0. And so I'm just resting my aching knees before I head out for my assignment tomorrow. Have to catch a flight and head on out to Kansas for tomorrow's game. So it'll be interesting how that goes. Should be an interesting game. It'll be 2 o'clock kickoff, I believe. So it'll be fun. Um, but tonight I'm here bringing to you week 2 recap. We're already on week 3, and week 2 was a fabulous week, as most of everything else that happens in this league is. And so, without further ado, I'm just going to get right into it. Word of note, I know there were some concerns over last week's show being a little long. Well, too bad. You want the best, I'm going to give you the best. I'm going to give you the absolute everything in this league, stat-wise and everything. So, I'm not going to shortcut anything on these shows. So, hey, if you don't want to watch or listen for an hour, don't. Easier said than done. So, but jumping right into it here tonight, we're going to jump off with the opening game of the schedule, which was the Detroit Lions against the Kansas City Chiefs, and Detroit coming in the matchup 1-0, and was looking to go 2-0. And the preview of this game gave Detroit the edge in this, and overall it was Detroit all the way, 37-10, as they just rolled Kansas City a new lung in this one. Matthew Stafford was 12 of 15, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, which is very good. And Javad Best had 16 carries, 76 yards. Megatron, Calvin Johnson, got 4 catches for 65 yards and a TD, and Maurice Stovall had 2 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. And for the Chiefs, you had Matt Castle, who was 16 of 25, 264, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Not good. And then you had Jamal Charles, 5 carries, 43 yards. And Jamal Charles also led in receiving yards with 73 and a touchdown through the air and none on the ground. And then Dwayne Bowe had 4 catches for 65 yards for the Chiefs. That was pretty much their offense most of the night. Defensive leaders for the Lions, Cliff Averill had 4 tackles, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble. He was a busy man this night. Stephen Tulick had 1 tackle and an interception, and then Corey Williams, defensive tackle, had a sack, and that counted as his tackle on the night. And then for Kansas City, you had Derek Johnson, you had 3 tackles and a sack. Tyson Jackson, 2 tackles, and then former Bama player Javier Arenas with 1 tackle on the night, as he makes the scoreboard show as Detroit again rolls Kansas City 37-10. Kansas City goes to 1-1 on the year. Detroit 2-0, just like in real life. Detroit is 2-0, so we'll see how well that goes. Next game on the horizon was Pittsburgh and Seattle. The preview for this game had Pittsburgh winning it all the way, and that's pretty much how it went. Pittsburgh just rolled Seattle 34-6. Really no competition this one. Pittsburgh pretty much had control most of the game. Ben Roethlisberger was 15 and 19 through 238, 1 touchdown, but 1 interception. Rashard Mendenhall, 31 carries, 278, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Mike Wallace, 6 carries, 103 yards and a touchdown. And Jericho Kacharia, 6 catches, 87 yards. The most telling stat in this game was that Hines Ward, leading receiver for the Steelers for several years, only had 1 catch for 2 yards. That has to be his career lowest in any game. And then Seattle Seahawks, Charlie Whitehurst, 7 of 22. That's a abomination, 31% passing, 124 yards and 1 interception. Marshawn Lynch, 14 carries, 42 yards. And then receiving core had Mike Williams with 2 catches, 44 yards, and Deon Butler, 2 receptions, 2 catches also, and 38 yards. So nothing much going across for Seattle in this game. Defensively for the Steelers, Bryant McFadden had 5 tackles and an interception. Lawrence Timmons, 4 tackles, 2 sacks, and Aaron Smith, 3 tackles and a sack for the Steelers. And for the Seahawks, David Hawthorne, 3 tackles, 1 forced fumble. Marcus Trufant, 2 tackles and an interception. And Earl Thomas, 5 tackles. So Seattle goes to 1-1 on the year. Steelers move to 2-0. Seems like Knowles has something going with this team right now. Moving on to the next game, Oakland Raiders and the Buffalo Bills. And when I saw the preview on this, I was thinking this might be a pretty good game. Might come down to the wire. And it just didn't happen that way. Game preview pretty much had the Raiders all the way in this. And the end note was the Raiders had it all the way in this. Won it by 20. 37-17 over the Bills. Jason Campbell for the Oakland Raiders, 14 of 21, 156, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Darren McFadden, 18 carries, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darius Haywood Bay, 2 catches, 39 yards. Patrick Creighton, 2 catches, also 36 yards. Neither of them reached the end zone in the game. The only receiver to reach the end zone in this one was tight end Kevin Boss, as he did reach the end zone in this. Turnover wise, it was ugly. Buffalo turned the ball over 5 times in this game. Oakland had 1, so that's a total of 6 altogether. That's not going to get it done with numbers like that. So it's going to be a tough thing all the way. See how it goes from there. Yes, you guys are still blowing up my damn screen while I'm doing this. And then for the Bills, Ryan Fitzpatrick, 8 of 13, 176, 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. Running back Fred Jackson, 16 carries, 33 yards. Steve Johnson, 2 catches, 82 yards and a touchdown. And Roscoe Parrish, 2 catches, 54 yards. And Buffalo, really, not much else going on for them. They only had 1 rush, and that was by their backup quarterback, Brad Smith, who also threw for 3 for 8 for 31 yards, had 1 interception, and mop-up duty just didn't happen. For the Bills in this game, they dropped to 0-2 on the year, while the Raiders go to 1-1. And for defensive stars in this game, for the Raiders, Julian Peterson, 3 tackles, 2 sacks. Richard Seymour, 2 tackles and a sack and a forced fumble. And Brandon Schiller, 4 tackles, 1 sack. And then for the Bills, Torrell Troop, 2 tackles, 1 sack. Marcel Darius, former Alabama player, 1 tackle, 1 sack. And Brian Scott, 1 tackle for the Bills in this. Moving on, next game will pit the Super Bowl champs against the upstart Carolina Panthers. Carolina looking for a win after a drop in last week's game. Packers hoping to recover from that tough loss they got handed to by the Saints. And the end result, this game was absolutely a defensive battle. The game preview pretty much had the Packers at the advantage in this game, but the end result is what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. At the end of the game, it said 13-0 Carolina Panthers, as the Packers just did not get much of anything going in this game. For Carolina, Cam Newton, 19 of 26, 189, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. DeAngelo Williams, 11 carries, 80 yards. Steve Smith, 2 catches, 48 yards. Ray Golston, 6 catches, 41 yards. And for the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, 18 of 24, 181, No touchdowns or picks for him. Ryan Grant, 16 carries, 59 yards. And then Donald Driver, 5 catches, 63 yards. Ryan Grant, 3 catches, 34 yards. And defensively, James Anderson for the Panthers, 4 tackles, 1 forced fumble. Sean Considine, 3 tackles. And Greg Hardy, 4 tackles. And for the Packers, Clay Matthews, oh my gosh, game high, 11 tackles. He was all over the field in this one. 11 tackles, 1 sack. AJ Hawk, 8 tackles and a sack. And Dave Bowens, 5 tackles for the Packers. But I tell you, that's a lot of tackles. That also means your defense was on the field a lot in this game. So Packers looking to recover, try to get back on the winning side. They hope not to drop to 0-3 going into next week's game, but we'll just have to see what happens with that. It'll be interesting. Next game on the horizon, Tennessee Titans against the Baltimore Ravens. Game preview on this one, pretty much had the Titans with the advantage. So it would be interesting to see what would happen in this game. And the following result would be the Titans took it 51-21. Just rolled heavily in this game. What else can you say? Records were set in this game. For the Titans, quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, 5 of 12, 46 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Chris Johnson, a.k.a. CJ, 17 carries, 165, 3 touchdowns. Kenny Britt, 3 catches, 41 yards. Nate Washington, 2 catches, 19 yards. The only one to reach the end zone through the air for the Titans was Torrey Smith. The only one to reach the end zone was Jared Cook Jr., tight end for the Titans, as he reached the end zone. He only had 3 catches, 17 yards. But records were set in this game. Total turnovers in this game alone is 10. That's the most I've ever seen in a Madden game, and that goes back to the PlayStation 1 days. That says a lot of how bad this game was. For the Ravens, and get ready for it. Joe Flacco, the quarterback, 16 of 35, 198, 1 touchdown, and a career high 7 interceptions. Yes, I said that correctly. 7 interceptions. That is unfreaking believable that you would have that many in that game. But a total of 8 turnovers for the Ravens in this game, 2 for the Titans, for a total of 10 turnovers in this game. Just freaking real. But what else can you say? For the Ravens, at least the one bright spot in their forte was the running game. Ray Rice, 17 carries, 178, 2 touchdowns. For the receivers, Ed Dixon, 6 catches, 81 yards. Torrey Smith, 2 catches, 43 yards, 1 touchdown. For the Ravens, as he did find the end zone. For defensive leaders, for the Titans, Barrett Ruud, 2 tackles, 2 sacks, forced fumble, and an interception. I will definitely have to give him player of the game on that one. He was a busy man. Altarian Werner, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, and Will Witherspoon, 2 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 interceptions. But still have to give player of the game on this one to Barrett Ruud. Not very often you get one player that fills all 4 categories in a game. And that's tackles, sacks, forced fumbles, and interceptions. He did it in this game. And for the Ravens, Ed Reed, 4 tackles and an interception. Jimmy Smith, 1 tackle, 1 interception. And Corey Redding, 3 tackles and nothing else across the board. So the Ravens hope to recover as best they can to move on to the next week, as they hope not to drop to 0-3. For the next game, you had Cleveland Browns against the Indianapolis Colts. And interesting part about this was the telling stat, the game preview on this, when I first looked at it, I thought, no, it's a mistake. But it gave the Browns the advantage, and in the end, it was the Browns that prevailed in this one, as they took out Indianapolis 31-16 in its game. Not much you can say about it. Peyton Manningless Colts in this game. It was just horrible, as they just could not get much of anything going in this game. What else can you say other than stellar defense by the Browns? But they went at 31-16 for the Browns. Colt McCoy, 12 of 20, 269, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Not good there. Hopefully that will improve as the season goes on. Peyton Hillis coming off his unbelievable 240-yard game. Found a very modest game in this one. 23 carries, 68 yards. Did not reach the end zone at all. Then, as this turned into the Josh Cribbs show, as he had 5 receptions, 167, and 2 touchdowns. And then Mohamed Massaquoi, 3 catches, 50 yards for the Browns. And for the Peyton Manningless Colts, their quarterback in this game was Dan Orlovsky, former UConn quarterback. So he went 14 of 27, 159, threw an interception. He had Joseph Adai, 20 carries, 86 yards. Then Jacob Tammy, 3 catches, 39 yards, and Dallas Clark, 30 catches also, 39 yards also. Don't think I've ever seen that before. 2 guys that share the same stat in yards in one game. That's a new one for me. For the Browns defense, you had Marcus Bernard, 6 tackles, 1 sack on the day. Joe Hayden, 1 tackle, 1 interception. And Chris Goching, 2 tackles, 1 sack. For the Browns and for the Colts, you have Ernie Sims, 3 tackles, and an interception. Al Afalia, 2 tackles, 1 interception. Tommy Harris, 2 tackles, and a sack for the Colts, as they hope to recover next week, as they look to hopefully not drop another one, as this will go on. For the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this would be a battle of definitely, they didn't want to drop any games in this one. Battle of 0-1 teams here. Game preview would give the Vikings the edge in this one, and in the end it was just enough, as the Vikings win at 34-32 in a very close game. Christian Ponder, 24-37, 282, but 2 picks. Did not throw a touchdown in this one. Adrian Peterson, 22 carries, 144, 3 touchdowns, all on the ground. Very nice. And then receiving core, Barron had 70 yards and 3 catches, and Visanti Shiniko, 8 catches, 91 yards for the Vikings, as he helped the Vikings get the big one in this one. And then you had for the Bucks, Josh Freeman, 23-37, 394, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not going to get done there. LeGarrette Blount, 17 carries, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kellen Winslow, holy cow, what can you say? 8 catches, 198 yards, receiving 2 touchdowns. Mike Williams, 9 catches, 132 yards. He did not reach the end zone, but a quiet game for Kellen Winslow and a 2-point loss in this one. And for the defense for the Vikings, Brian Robinson, 3 tackles and a sack and a forced fumble. Hassan Abdullah, 2 tackles and an interception. Kirk Morrison, 3 tackles, 1 sack on the day. And then Geno Hayes for the Bucks. Geno Hayes, 2 tackles and an interception. Rondé Barber, 2 tackles and an interception. Quincy Black, 2 tackles, 1 sack. As that completes the Bucks defense. Bucks look to hopefully recover and not go 0-3 the next week. as they hope to recover on this one. Next game on the horizon would be the Washington Redskins and the Arizona Cardinals, as teams are looking to get better as the year goes on. Advantage in this one would give the Cardinals the edge, but in the end, it was not to be for the Cardinals as they lose 17-10 to the Skins. Rex Grossman was 20-35, 165, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Ryan Torian, 18 carries, 96 yards. Santana Moss, 5 catches, 68 yards, 2 touchdowns. And also Ryan Torian had 4 catches, 31 yards there. As a busy day for the Skins there. And for the Cardinals, Kevin Cobb, 18-25, 184, and a touchdown. Beating Wells, 18 carries, 33 yards. That's just not going to get done there. Larry Fitzgerald, 4 catches, 62 yards. And Todd Heap, 4 catches, 44 yards. He did reach the end zone. Fitzgerald did not in this one. For the defense of the Skins, LaRon Landry, 6 tackles and a sack. D'Angelo Hall, 3 tackles and a sack. And Barry Cofield, 2 tackles and a sack. So, very stout defense by the Skins. They hope to continue the good momentum going into this one. For the defense of the Cardinals, Patrick Peterson, 6 tackles and an interception. Calais Campbell, 5 tackles and a forced fumble. Hazama Abdullah, 2 tackles only in this one as the Cardinals lose the tough one, 17-10 to the Skins. Next up on the horizon would be Big D and his New Orleans Saints looking to go 2-0 on the year against the Chicago Bears. And the preview in this one would give the Saints the edge in this one. And in the end, that was pretty much it. It was the Saints all the way as they rolled the Bears 35-14 as Drew Brees went 17-25, 291, 4 touchdowns in the game. Rookie Mark Ingram, 18 carries, 119 yards, but he did not reach the end zone. Lance Moore had 5 catches, 134 yards, 1 touchdown, and Jimmy Graham, 5 catches, 65 yards, 2 touchdowns. And looking at the overall stats, I see Big D kind of kept Drew Brees' numbers down this week. Last week he had 54 yards rushing. He was only 2 off of Ingram, who had 56 yards. Well, this week, Big D decided to calm down Brees a bit and tell him, hey, we still need you. As Drew Brees accounted for the only score on the ground as he rushed only 4 times for 17 yards in this one. So Big D obviously did not want to put his franchise quarterback in too much danger. So, yeah, in order to do that, you got to keep the numbers down. So good job, Big D, with that. And then you have Jay Cutler for the Bears, 18-29, 236, 1 interception. Matt Forte, 14 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Johnny Knox, 8 catches, 113. Kellen Davis, 3 catches, 42 yards. For defense of the Saints, Cameron Jordan, 4 tackles, 3 sacks. Jonathan Vilma had 3 tackles and an interception. And Keith Bullock, 2 tackles and a sack and a forced fumble. And then for the defense of the Bears, you had Brian Urlacher, 4 tackles and a sack. Major Wright, 2 tackles and a forced fumble. And Nick Roach, 1 tackle and a sack in this game, as the Saints look to go 3-0. Next up it would be the Jags and the Jets. Jets looking to recover from the beatdown they received last week. And the big telling stat in this one would be it did not get any better for the Jets. Game preview in this one gave the Jags the edge. And they must have read the report too, because they had the edge all the way, despite the fact that their quarterback threw 3 interceptions in this game. But cast off, Tiki Barber took over in this game and just had a monster game as the Jags were looking to shore up that running game after an injury to their franchise running back, and Tiki Barber took it to the hill as he had 27 carries, 230 yards, and a touchdown. Zach Miller for receivers, 2 catches, 37 yards, and a touchdown. Kasim Osgood, 3 catches, 33 yards. And for the Jets, Mark Sanchez, 11 of 29, 192, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. LaDainian Tomlinson, 22 carries, 71 yards. Dustin Keller had a good game, though, for the Jets, 3 catches, 115, and a touchdown. Santonio Holmes, 3 catches, 32 yards on the night. And then for the Jags defense, Clint Session, 4 tackles and a sack and 2 forced fumbles. So very good job there. Former Penn State linebacker Paul Podolsky, 3 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. And then Matt Roth, 2 tackles, 1 sack on the night. And for the Jets defense, Jim Lionheart, 3 tackles and an interception. Eric Smith, 2 tackles and an interception. And Jamal Westerman, 1 tackle, 1 interception. So not much you could do there. Jets hope to recover and move on. Next game on the horizon would be the 49ers and the Cowboys. And we always know that this is always a shootout between these two teams. It's always a hard-fought battle. The edge in this one for the game preview gave the Cowboys the advantage, but in the end, it was just not enough as the 49ers win it 40-34. The only thing I could say about this game was no stats. So we don't know how the game went. Don't know who threw for what or anything like that. The only thing I can give you is the final score. So moving on to the next game, which would put New England Patriots against San Diego Chargers. I figured 2 teams like this, it would probably be a pretty good tight game. Oh, it just did not happen that way. As Coach Gaddy just has the Patriots rolling right now. Tom Brady was 19 of 22, 322, 3 touchdowns. Danny Woodhead, 12 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Chad Ochocinco, or Chad Johnson, 5 catches, 119, 1 touchdown. And Rob Gronkowski, 3 catches, 56 yards. And Philip Rivers, 11 of 24 for the Chargers, 195, 1 touchdown, 3 humongous interceptions. Mike Tolbert, 3 catches, 3 rushes, only 11 yards. Vincent Jackson, 4 catches, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Malcolm Floyd, 2 catches, 33 yards. And for the defense of the Patriots, Devin McCourty, 2 tackles, 2 interceptions. Gary Guyton, 4 tackles and a sack. And then Gerard Mayo, 2 tackles and a sack on the night. And this one for the Chargers defense, Marcus Gilchrist, 2 tackles and a sack. Takeo Spikes, 5 tackles on the night, and that was it. Pisa Tissanoma, 2 tackles on the night for the Chargers. So, not much else to say there. Next game, Denver Broncos, Cincinnati Bengals. And the telling stat about this one is it would be split even on the game preview. They were pretty much an even matchup all the way, and it was pretty much an even matchup the rest of the way as the Broncos eat out a close 10-9 win. And this one as they barely escaped the Cincinnati Bengals. Tim Tebow got the start in this one, and either got start or he relieved Kyle Orton, who was a woeful 3 for 7 for 21 yards. That's not going to get it done. So in comes Tim Tebow, who delivered 5 of 13, 66 yards. He had 1 interception, no touchdowns thrown, but he did rush for 3 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. And then running back Noshawn Marino, 14 carries, 46 yards on the night. That was pretty much the rushing game for the Broncos in this one, as pretty much what else you could say in a low-scoring game. Marius Thomas, 3 catches, 30 yards. Eddie Royal, 2 catches, 21 yards. How simple is that? And then for the Bengals, Andy Dalton, 26 to 38, 307, no touchdowns, no picks. Cedric Benson, 26 carries, 126 yards, did not reach the end zone. AJ Green, 8 carries, 8 catches, 107. And Jordan Shipley, 6 catches, 72 yards. And for the defense of the Broncos, Darcel McBath, 5 tackles and a forced fumble. DJ Williams, 3 tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble. And Jason Hunter had 3 tackles and 2 sacks for the Broncos. And for the Bengals, Nate Clements, 5 tackles and an interception. Pac-Man Jones, 3 tackles and a sack. And Chris Crocker, 3 tackles on the night, as the Bengals dropped to 0-2 on the year. Next game, this one was simmed. Kind of a tough game. Owner and I tried to get this one in many times. There's just some sort of weird reason that it just wasn't clicking for us getting online. Every time he invited me, all I would see is a blank screen on the thing, and then when I tried to invite him, I would see my side. I'd see Dolphins show up, but then there was absolutely blank on the other side. So we tried at least 7 or 8 times to try to see. We even rebooted our systems. We did everything we could think of, and in the end, we just decided to let it get simmed. And the final score in this one was Houston 21-10 over my Miami Dolphins, as they dropped 0-2 on the year. Houston goes to 1-1. Shaw was 30 of 36, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Arian Foster, 23 carries, 41 yards. Andre Johnson, 8 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Kevin Walter, 4 catches, 29 yards. And for the Dolphins, Chad Henne, 17-28, 137, 1 touchdown. Ronnie Brown, 9 carries, 29 yards. Brandon Marshall, 5 catches, 38 yards. And Devon Best, 4 catches, 34 yards on the night. For the Texans defense, Jonathan Joseph, 4 tackles and a forced fumble. Mario Williams, 6 tackles, 1 sack. And Kareem Jackson, 1 tackle on the night for him. And for the Dolphins, Kevin Burnett, 6 tackles and a sack. Jason Taylor, 5 tackles. And Ronnie Fields, 1 tackle on the night for the Dolphins. And then Sunday night NFL game would pit the Falcons against the Eagles. Eagles hoping to recover from last week's tough loss, and hoping to do better in this game and hopefully ride their way to the Super Bowl. Well, this game was no different, as the Falcons pulled it out in the end, 27-23. Game preview gave the Falcons the edge. That's pretty much what they got, was that edge. Matt Ryan, 18-25, 347, 2 touchdowns, but 3 huge interceptions. Michael Turner, 24 carries, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Gonzalez, 9 catches, 141. And Roddy White, 2 catches, 105, and 2 touchdowns for him. For the 0-2 Eagles, Michael Vick, 11-23, 197, 2 picks, as this was just not his night to do much of anything in this game. He only rushed for 2 yards rushing. Reggie Bush had a not so great night either. 14 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. And LaShawn McCoy, 8 carries, 15 yards. It was really, the running game was pretty much nowhere. The good thing, Falcons won the game. Bad thing, they turned the ball over 4 times in this game. So definitely something that the VP of the NFC is going to shore up if he wants his team to get into the playoffs later on. For the defense of the Falcons, William Moore, 3 tackles and an interception. Jonathan Babineau, 1 tackle, 1 sack. And Pierre Jerry, 1 tackle, 1 sack for him. And for the Eagles, Trent Cole, 3 tackles and a forced fumble. Casey Matthews, 6 tackles and a sack. And Vontae Davis, name appears again. 2 tackles and an interception in this game. But the Eagles just could not pull it out in the end. They lose 27-23. They dropped 0-2. Falcons go to 1-1 on the year, looking to recover after losing the previous week. So we'll see how it goes as we go from there. And our Monday night matchup would pit the Giants against the Rams. And this was a stellar game. Game preview in this one would put the Giants at the advantage edge. And they definitely got that as they pulled it out 23-20. Eli Manning was 13-25, 258, and an interception. Brandon Jacobs, 20 carries, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hakeem Nicks, 7 catches, 124. Ramses Barden, 1 catch, 62 yards. That was pretty much it. And for the Rams, Sam Bradford, 17-26, 188. And Steven Jackson, 27 carries, 189, 2 touchdowns. So he had a stellar night. Lance Kendricks, 4 catches, 68 yards. And Danny Amendola, 5 catches, 39 yards. And for the Giants defense, Aaron Ross, 3 tackles and a forced fumble. Linval Joseph, 1 tackle, 1 sack. And Justin Tuck had the same, 1 tackle, 1 sack. And for the Rams defense, Chris Long, 3 tackles, 1 sack. Quentin Michael, 1 tackle and an interception. And Al Harris, 5 tackles on the night for him as the Giants pulled it out in a good game. Only 1 turnover in this game. That went to the Giants, but it did not come back to bite them in the end. So stellar game all the way around for both clubs in this one. As Monday night comes and goes, ends week 2. So we move on to week 3, and still a lot of good games on the horizon in this one. To kick it off will be the New England Patriots going in 2-0, going against the 0-2 Buffalo Bills. Game preview on this one puts the Patriots at the advantage, especially when you have someone like Gaddy as your head coach. What else can you say? For game number 2, you have the Lions against the Vikings. Lions 2-0, looking to go 3-0. Preview on that pits the Lions as the overall advantage in this one. We'll have to see if that comes true. And for game 3, we put the Giants 2-0 against the 0-2 Eagles. Of course, I have a feeling Fischel will have something up his sleeve in this one, and as I know he definitely does not want to drop to 0-3 on the year. That would dropping any more games. You drop any more games, then it's going to be a tough road trying to get to be playoff eligible. But we'll have to see what happens. As game preview in this one gives the Giants the edge in this one, as we'll have to see what happens there. It will be interesting. Next game up would be the Jags against the Panthers, 1-1 versus 1-1. As the overall advantage goes to the Jags and their newfound running back, Tiki Barber, as he hopes to continue his great success he had this week and hopes to continue that the next week. And we'll have to see if Cam Newton can pull another one out of his ass as he did so many times at Auburn. Next game on the horizon for that was San Francisco 49ers against the 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals. The only thing I can say about Cincinnati, new quarterback, young rookie quarterback, it's going to be a learning process for them as we go from there. And Niners are pretty much going through the motions with their quarterbacks. They're trying to find a good leader. This game is pretty much split dead even in this game, so really nobody going to get an overall advantage in this one, so we'll have to see what happens there. Next game will be the New Orleans Saints 2-0 against the 1-1 Houston Texans. That should be a good game there. It'll definitely be, I think it'll be high scoring either way. Overall advantage in this one gives the Saints the edge, mostly due to the fact that they have not had any turnovers in this game in 2 games already. I'll tell you, that's very good ball control when you don't do that. So we'll have to see what happens there, as Saints are given the overall advantage in this one. So we'll have to see if that continues to go that way. Next up will be the Browns, 2-0 against my 0-2 Miami Dolphins. Advantage in this one should give the Browns the advantage they do, and so we'll just have to see what goes from there. It'll definitely be a battle of who can contain whose running game in this one, as I vow not to let Peyton Hillis kill us on the ground. Next up would be battle of 2-0 teams, Titans against the Broncos. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Kyle Orton got benched, and Tim Tebow comes off the bench and leads to victory. So we'll see who will be the starting quarterback going into this game. Will it be Tebow or Orton? And against Tennessee and their good running back CJ Chris Johnson. Overall advantage goes to the Titans in this one, but it should be a good stellar game no matter what. Next game would be the Chiefs against the Chargers, 1-1 versus 1-1. Game preview advantage gives the Chiefs the advantage in this one. So we'll just have to see how that comes about in that area. So it will be interesting to see what happens in that one. Next up would be the Ravens, looking to get their first win on the year against the St. Louis Rams, team that won and then lost, and then they're hoping to recover and move on to the next week. Overall advantage in this one goes to the Rams, and this one, yes, we'll have to see what happens in that game. And next up would be the Jets, 0-2 against the Oakland Raiders, 1-1. So we'll have to see what happens there. Will the Jets be able to avoid going 0-3 on the year? As we'll have to see what happens there. Green Bay Packers, 0-2. They're still looking for their first win of the year against the 1-1 Chicago Bears. Overall advantage gives Green Bay the advantage, but in a rivalry game such as this one, nothing is ever given to anybody, so it'll be a hard-fought battle in this one. Next up would be the Falcons, 1-1 against the 0-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers looking to grab their first win of the year, while the Falcons look to continue the success they got this week as they look to go to 2-1 in this game. Next one would be Arizona against Seattle, and the big question will be whose running game is going to dominate this one, as both teams' running games this previous week just did not do well at all. So I'm sure both coaches will be looking to get the running game a little bit better than it did. And for the Steelers, they take on, well, will it be the Peyton Manningless Colts again, or will Manning make an appearance in this one? Either way, the overall advantage goes to the Steelers, and I truly think that it'll stay that way too. And then our Monday night battle would be Washington against Dallas, one of the oldest rivalries in the sport. Not the oldest. The oldest is the Packers and the Bears. But the next oldest rivalry is the Skins and the Boys, and this one is those two just absolutely hate each other. And overall advantage in this one gives Dallas the advantage, but we'll have to see if that comes to fruition and see how it goes from there. So we've come to another week. Another week has gone by in this as we look to move on, looking at the power rankings this week. New Orleans on top. They are the number one team in the power rankings. Behind them is the New England the Gaddy New England Patriots. Then Tennessee Titans, the Giants, the Steelers, the Lions, the Browns, the Broncos. Then you get into the Vikings and the Cardinals, and then you get everybody on the bottom. Texans, Rams, Colts, Seahawks, Raiders, Skins, Chiefs, Falcons, Boys, Bears, Panthers, Jaguars, and then the Niners, Chargers, Buccaneers, Dolphins, Jets, Eagles, Green Bay Packers, Bills, Bengals, and dead last Baltimore Ravens. So we'll have to see what happens there. Really, most things that really stand out to me in this one for the New Orleans Saints is really kind of interesting how it goes. They're a tough team either way to defend, so and to not only run on but to score on. So we'll have to see how the rankings change at the end of going into next week, as all those top 5 teams are in action. So we'll have to see what happens from there as we go from there. So really, I have nothing else much more to say. I've enjoyed it here tonight, gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed the show too. I've enjoyed it bringing it to you. So have yourselves a great evening and a great weekend. And I'll see you guys again when I return. And have fun this weekend.